Hello and welcome to the Cities People Love to Live in podcast from Schréder, a platform for sharing ideas, experience and great conversations. I'm France Latouers and today I'm delighted to be joined by Denteneer and Laurent Secretin to discuss the importance of standardizing systems that enable cities to deliver social, environmental and economic advantages for communities and strong operational and financial benefits for themselves. Before we get started, let me introduce Guy and Laurent. Guy is the Secretary General of the Zaga Consortium, an open, global lighting industry consortium with a mission to standardize the interfaces of components of LED luminaires. In addition to his position in the Zaga Consortium, Guy is Director of Standards at Philips Lighting and also a member of the executive team, Treasurer and Chair of the Finance Committee of the Zigbee Alliance, Technical Working Group Chair of the Fairhair Alliance. Laurent is Product Manager and Lead Architect for Smart Lighting at Schréder Hyperion, the Schréder Group Smart City Centers of Excellence. Laurent has been representing Schréder in the Zaga Consortium over the past 2 years. So let's get started, gentlemen. We hear a lot about smart cities and that lighting technology and infrastructure need to be open and interoperable. What exactly does this mean? What makes solution close in smart lighting? How can cities get locked into a single vendor?
Indeed, we are speaking about smart lighting since years, and a lot of companies, a lot of solutions have raised on the market, but everybody was trying to solve the problem or to bring solutions starting from a blank sheet up to some extent, which creates a lot of concurrent solutions available, but each of them being quite proprietary to the companies which is delivering the solutions. That is most likely all the new technologies are starting, but obviously that also creates some kind of environment which is not so great to really scale up the solutions and make them being deployed on the field at a quite wider level. And this is where it looks to me that over the last 3 to 4 years, a lot of efforts have been spent by companies to try to discuss between them, try to align and make these solutions more and more open. And to my opinion, this is also where Zaga play a great role, but I'm sure they can already comment on that.
I'm a great advocate to standards, as you know, Laurent. So, but let me say, proprietary solutions, closed solutions, they may be technically excellent, but as a customer, you would be hesitant to enter into a long-term agreement with only one company. You rather be able to source from many companies, and that's why our customers want open solutions. And there's a second thing, that companies, however technically excellent they may be, are not able to do all the innovation that's possible. They always have just a little bit of the innovation. As a customer, you want to be able to source from a richer innovation ecosystem than just one company. And that's another reason why you would rather not go for proprietary and closed solutions. So that's my take of it. And standards there are the answer, I would say.
I remember having faced some project where the customer was a bit afraid to say, hey, I'm purchasing something that is supposed to last for the next 15 years, but I don't want to wish you bad stuff, but what if your company is going to bankrupt? What am I going to do? Who is going to maintain this? And indeed, this is where, for me, it makes completely sense also that the solutions are built on something that is shared, something that is common, and that can help companies, in fact, to grow because the customer get the confidence that what he's purchasing is not something that is completely locked so far.
What are real evolution in the last 5 years that have been made smart lighting a more open technology?
I would immediately say it's the Zaga Book 18 standard. It's an interface between a luminaire and a smart node, a smart sensor, a smart device, and it allows you to plug and play the sensor device onto the luminaire. It's an open standard, allowing luminaires from many vendors and smart solutions from many vendors. And we think that this solution will break barriers and is the key to open up this space of open solutions.
Yeah, indeed, create specifications on which we can build and design, knowing that it's not something that is, again, starting from a blank sheet, but something that is already a common line, a baseline that has been agreed between, I would say, players that are seeing first the interest of the market. And I'm sure it's also important for Zaga to be a part of the journey and to be able to bring people together to come to a common line point. But how important is it for Zaga, D?
Yeah, that is tremendously important. So, and I said, so it's an innovation that's taken a few years. I think in the first stage, we developed a mechanical connector. We talk about a plug and play system, a mechanical connector. And to that, we have, in collaboration and with contributions of many companies, added the electrical and control elements of the interface. We've worked on this for a few years, and only last year, we can say at the end of last year, we have also enabled the specification of sensor devices, and we can say that the specification is complete. And now we're ready to roll out this specification and to see deployed in the market.
And for me also, France, what is really interesting is that now, based on the specifications, we can build an ecosystem, and we have something which is recognized, and that enable customers to consider at different steps, at different stages, for instance, the renewal of the lighting, and then the additions of the control solutions. And these investments can be managed separately, maybe delayed in time, and no more the risk to say, hey, I purchased a luminaire, and now I want the control, but I cannot change anything. My luminaire is already in place, and I'm now discovering the control world, and it's too late. Now, here we have a standard which is taking care really about the interface between the two, so that you can really approach this global based on these standards, even if you are intent to delaying the investment. I took often as an example to explain to customers or to my colleagues that it's a bit like the standardization that happens on the computer industry with the USB port, for instance, where today you can purchase a computer from one brand and some peripherals from another one, but as long as it is USB, you are sure it will be able to connect and to recognize and to work together. And this is what, my opinion, was completely not existing a couple of years ago, and now that we have the specifications up and running, we have this baseline enabling this same level of confidence to happen when we are considering to deliver luminaire or to deliver control systems that have to perfectly match together.
What would the impact be on cities, utilities, and ultimately citizens?
In the city of Palmerston, Australia, they call this the green switch. It enables the municipality to make a green switch. And there is two sides to it, in my understanding. One is to go for climate action, energy saving, because it enables connected lighting, better controlled lighting, and energy saving, also through the LEDs. On the other hand, it goes with sustainable cities, because these applications, these sensors that you can mount on luminaires can help in safety of the city. They do environmental sensing, they do environmental listening, either for simple things in lighting control, there's presence, you switch on the light, have more energy saving, either in safety, there's something spooky going on, let's do an alert. They can also do for environmental sensing, CO2 sensing, air pollution sensing, fine particle sensing, indicate citizens where to go at some point in time and where not to go because of health issues. So these connected solutions, they contribute to what they call a green switch. I think this is a great word, and there's two elements to this: energy and smart city, so to speak. And both are enabled through this interface.
Sustainability is one of the biggest questions now. Every companies are trying to be more sustainable, and cities as well. So how far can we go in this field, in sustainability, with this kind of solutions?
Oh, I think the limit is still far to be defined. But what is interesting is that in terms of lighting, we are used to see lighting in the city since decades. It's just look like something that everybody is expecting, and we even do not pay attention anymore. While on the other side, when we talk about smart cities, you know, today we care a lot about sustainability, while 5 years ago, it was absolutely not the big trend, but to some extent. And this is where, with the kind of interface which is now standardized, we give the chance to use something that is there since decades to enable to add some new capabilities which are more in line with what is now what people are more and more caring about. And it's not like, hey, now I need to replace my luminaire because I want to put something else which is still providing light, but also providing additional information that can help my city to be more sustainable. No, you can just improve the capabilities of what you connect to this lighting infrastructure to more and more deliver basically smart cities services or smart cities capabilities, going in the directions of the sustainability, yeah, for sure, but also in the directions of how you may, for instance, provide safety to your citizens, or how you may monitor the quality of life, the quality of the air by measuring the sound, for instance. And this is where a lot of new players can come with new use cases and deliver new solutions while still relying on an electrical and digital infrastructure that we have prepared surfing on this lighting world, which is there since a long time ago to some extent. So that, in fact, we are really helping cities expanding what is possible to do without having to restart from scratch to some extent. But really capitalizing on an investment that they are used to do anyway on the lighting world to be more sustainable, but also get more return on investment by enabling them to build more features, more capabilities over this networking and over this lighting infrastructure that they are used to handle. So yeah, that is really great. I'm excited about it.
They've observed already many times that the lighting grid, the lighting system is really the key place to carry smart solutions. It's dense, has access to electrical power, has access to connectivity. But they never figured out really how to do this, to combine the smart city with the lighting infrastructure. And with this interface, it becomes really easy and easy to do. I think that's the breakthrough. And it is available as a standard. So that creates trust in this solution.
But of course, it creates also a lot of challenges, right? Because at the end, this means that we may develop and offer a luminaire today, but we do not know what might be added or connected to these luminaires in 1 year or in 5 years from now. So it's not that easy to develop something that has to be able to operate with something which is not yet existing so far. And that is putting highlights on the interoperability quest that we have to manage when we create these kind of specifications. And I remember we had some hard talk between members around the table when we try to work on these kind of specifications to create the right baselines to secure some kind of interoperability with future devices to be developed, while on the other side giving also room for differentiation. And this is always where the tricky part is when you try to create some standardization which is open, but on the other side you want the players to still have the room to differentiate and to offer something a bit different, I would say. And that is quite tricky, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So in Zaga, we would like to limit to the standard to what is essential for interoperability, because that is where companies and products need to work together. And it's essential that that's well defined, but not go any further, because there you would like to have room for innovation and new ideas. And you would not like the standard to limit, to hinder the introduction of new ideas. And that's indeed one of the key philosophies in Zaga. And in the end, it's exciting that you enable things, but you don't know exactly what it's going to be. That's up to the innovative power of the companies. I think that's also really great and exciting.
So I guess it's important for a company like Schréder to participate in the consortium to really gain that interoperability and innovation for the market then.
As Zaga, we depend on the contributions of many companies like Schréder in our consortium, because I say that there's technical expertise in developing the interfaces, but there's also need in many contributions. Many companies need to look at that, and I would always welcome more companies to Zaga to participate in these developments and to contribute to this journey, both in technically specifying solutions that help forward the world and also the lighting industry. And we're a really open consortium. I think that's important, and everybody's welcome to join.
Which is quite important as well for a company like Schréder when we join Zaga, to make sure that at the end the way the specifications are built are indeed really built in an open way, so that it can be open discussions between parties where, for sure, from different opinions, there is a kind of common willingness to come to a global agreement, seeing the interest for the market that we achieve together an agreement, the specifications on which people will build the trust. And I can tell you that at Schréder, at the beginning, it took a bit of time to make sure that the maturity of the specification is there, so that we can justify the efforts to adapt our luminaire, to develop new luminaires based on these specifications. Also making sure that the effort that we do can be recognized equally, in the sense that, for instance, the way people are building solutions according to the specification is properly monitored, so that it's not a self-declaration, but there is, for instance, a kind of certification program around it, to make sure that this interoperability that the specification is supposed to grant is properly applied on the field by the players, so that indeed when customers will match product together, it will really get the interoperability that the specification is supposed to deliver so far. So now we have a certification program, which is there for luminaire, which is there for control systems, for sensors, to really make sure that we do not need to test on our side, that we can have our luminaire properly interacting with sensors from A or from B, because based on this certification program that is monitoring and making sure that the specifications are properly applied by the players, at the end, the interoperability is secured even without testing it so far. And this certification program is in place to grant this confidence, not only for the suppliers as we are, but also for the customers, so that they can just making sure they relate to these certifications to grant that the interoperability that they are aiming will be granted.
Well, Guy and Laurent, I've really enjoyed listening to you both today and hearing all about the great advances that are being made to help city adopt standardized solutions that facilitate the implementation of smart city application and deliver tangible benefits.
Thank you, Frans. Hey, Laurent, it was a pleasure to talk.
Always my pleasure, Guy.